Hello everyone and welcome back. I am Panda Pops and I like to bring you blockchain gaming and crypto related content. For today's video, I'm actually going to be talking to you about the history of Axie Infinity gameplay. So we're going to have a little look at the old school battle system that I was first introduced to, and then we're gonna sort of evolve and look more into the one that most people are used to, and then have a little look at then what has changed within Origins. So let's go all the way back to sort of like early days 2019, and yeah, let's take a look at the battle system. So what we actually have here right now is same sort of system, 3 axes, battle another 3 axes. Everything is done on their website, so you would just log in, create your team, and then you would click to have a match. Sometimes you can battle against other players, or you just click to go find a match. The main difference here is it was 100% auto battle. There were no cards. You didn't earn things like SLP. The SLP wasn't a thing back in this version. So what we have here is the match. You could watch the match, or you just see results. But the axes would actually battle through their parts in order. So it'd be go mouth, horn, back, and then tail. The fastest axie will always go first. Sometimes they would miss, and it's been a while since I've done this, so I can't remember what equated to an axie missing another axie. I think perhaps a little bit to do with speed, but I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I've done this, but this was what I used to play when I first got into Axie. With having no SLP, the way you would breed your axes back then was after battling. If they won, they would gain XP, and once they passed a certain XP threshold, would be able to breed and use that breeding slot. So it was done purely from XP. And it was only in the next version of Battles did we actually see SLP come into it. This is the OG version. There's not really much else to say other than it was auto battle. You gained XP on your axes, and they just worked through their body parts. So there was no choosing what you wanted to do. You just had to put like hopefully a fairly good team together that would just out battle the other team. Now move over to the version of battles that most of us all have played or at least understand a little bit, and this is where they introduced SLP. We also got introduced to adventure mode. Now we have the cards with different abilities. Some of those would change during different seasons. They would even nerf or buff certain other ones, which obviously a lot of people got upset over those. Some people not so much, and it's changes they made would never make like an amazing Axie go from amazing to awful. It would always be it's amazing, but it's just less amazing. Like it now has more counters against it, so it would still be a good Axie. Just you might have to play it a little bit differently or team it up with someone a bit different. So then we got introduced with obviously energy for our battle system. We have the cards for the battle system. So it's a little bit more skill based. Obviously, you could be matched up against somebody who's got, awful set of cards, awful axes right near the start until you start ranking up a little bit more, going against high level players. But that doesn't stop even really good players or getting bad cards being pulled out of their hand, because that was always an option. You could just not get the cards that you really are waiting for. Or you may just make a really rookie mistake, which I've done numerous times where I've not been concentrating and I've just been like, oh, why did I do that instead of this? I could have won. This version is still currently kind of my favorite. Been playing Origins. Origins is brand new, and that's what we're going to move over and look onto now. So with Origins, now you don't carry over any of that energy that we used to. We used to be able to carry over that energy from before. We can now go through adventure mode and level up and be able to earn special things like the Lucky Charms and things like that that can help improve our axes. So this is another addition, and we have a discard pile where our cards go into that and then can get reshuffled back into our hand once our hand's done. We have a banish pile, so those cards will just be banished out of it. They'll never get to be played again, so that will take a little bit of skill looking into that. But I would say the biggest change going forward is well, one, the body parts, they all do different things compared to the other version. Most cards before would always give you like some form of attack and some form of shield. Now it's mostly just your card is either an attacker card or it's a shield card. You might get one where it's like a little bit of both. You might get like a heal and shield card. But there's not really... correct me if I'm wrong. I have not been through every single card. Have not. At least I haven't seen a card that is both attack and shield. You can place a shield on someone else, and when they get attacked, it then does damage to that one. That's a nice one, but also one of the biggest changes is the introduction to the... One of the main things in Axie Origins is now that we actually have the eyes and ears taking part within the abilities rather than just being part of the Axie stats themselves. Now they actually go towards helping with the abilities in battles. So this is more turn-based. So in turn 1, the player, obviously, who's the fastest goes first. And then the other team, instead of it being together at the same time, where both players go, and then it's just the speed order of the axes go, this is just fastest player first, followed by the other player, then goes and does all of their things next. Obviously, the graphics for this have changed. I didn't know how I would feel about the graphics. I actually really, really liked them. They've changed enough, but it's different, but they haven't changed so drastically that you're like, what are these even like the axes that I knew? It's nice changes. The other big change with the battle system is we actually get to see our opponent's energy. We get to see how many cards they've got, how many cards they've banished, and how many cards are on their discard pile as well. I mean, seeing their energy doesn't matter too much, mainly because, obviously, unless they've got cards that are going to increase their energy, then the energy just resets, like, you can't carry that energy over. That doesn't matter too much. Before, I felt like, at least in the previous version, before, you kind of needed to keep up with how much energy the other team had got, and that made sense because you can carry energy over, so it made sense to, you know, not show your opponent's energy. If you don't use it, then it just doesn't get carried over, so it doesn't really matter. With Origin as well, it's a little bit more imperative to make sure that you are actually playing the adventure mode. With this, it does allow you to unlock the other aspects, like you need to get to certain levels to unlock your own axes to use to play with, to be able to do the PvP battles, to be able to craft your runes and everything. And as mentioned earlier, these Lucky Charms, huge addition to the way the gameplay is done. It can definitely change how the outcome of a battle can go just by having some extra healing on there compared to your opponent who may not have that healing at all. So yeah, the adventure's more imperative to actually go through it compared to on the last version. You could just play it if you wanted to play it. It was a good way to obviously earn some SLP, but for the most part, there wasn't much overall need to go and play that. There's lots of different ways that you can obviously use these runes and Lucky Charms, which can really change the outcome of the end of the battle. So I feel personally, I feel like it's definitely, especially when we go and look back to 2019, the way it's evolved from there, from being a pure auto battle where it just worked through the attacks of the body parts. Let me know, guys, down in the comments, which one did you guys get introduced to first? Which version of battles? Which one do you like? Have you decided that yes, Origin is for you, you prefer it over the last version, or are you still on the fence? I'm a little bit on the fence. I kind of want to keep both versions, but I do understand that if more players do go over to play Origin and nobody sticks with the old version, then obviously getting into matches with other players just would be almost like you'd be waiting a long time to get into those battles. I don't think it's too hard to sort of get to grips. There's been enough changes that it is different, but it's also not so completely different that it feels like you need to learn a whole brand new game. It's still a very similar style. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload brand new videos. Make sure to check out some of my other Axie videos, which I'll have linked here. And wherever you are in the world, have a good morning, afternoon, evening. Goodbye.